So when I started about a decade ago, I was mostly in my mind, I was focusing on ecotourism. But later on, I think it was around 2014 when I was working for EcoPeace, collaboration between Israelis, Palestinians, and Jordanians. And I was working on the green economy criteria and green business checklist. I came across the GSTC criteria. And there I actually understood that the term of sustainability can actually be used in all sorts of tourism. It doesn't have to be in this very niche segment of ecotourism. So still at that point, I continued to focus my passion specifically on ecotourism, but I realized that it can actually encompass much larger part of the tourism industry, and not only that very specific segment that cater to already, let's say, more focused or maybe more aware tourists that have this intention to participate in these activities. Now, later on, when I was with UN-ESCAP in Bangkok, and I did some research about institutional framework of Southeast Asian countries, I was actually looking for data. I thought about looking to see. Eventually, I didn't put it in my research, but I was looking into trying to find statistics and data about some claims that I've seen by ecotourism professionals and organizations saying that it's the largest growing segment of tourism, or it consists of 10% or some other numbers of it that's part of the tourism industry. And I came to realize that none is true. There is no specific understanding on what is the segmentation, what's the percentage of ecotourism out of all tourism activities. It's a little bit difficult to say. But I realized it's kind of the citations and the quotations was about others that quote the same thing. So there was no source. It somehow got to be there, and then people continued to quote it. And as part of it, when I was kind of becoming a little bit more critic on this issue, I realized that it has this possibility to look at sustainability in all sorts of tourism and not only that very specific segment. And now, when I give any talk, a webinar, a talk when pre-COVID, when I was speaking at conferences or others, every time I spend at least one slide in my presentation speaking about the difference between ecotourism and sustainable tourism, which in short means ecotourism refers to a very specific segment of tourism that focus on natural areas, usually with some local community and has some cultural aspect, but the natural environment is very crucial. While when we talk about sustainable tourism, this refers to an aspiration to all types of tourism to be more sustainable, whether it's ecotourism, health tourism, adventure tourism, or just food tourism in a big city. All of this can be more sustainable.
We are going to talk more about that later, because I think that is something that ordinary travelers or consumers like us would benefit from understanding the difference between the two, because it is true that it is mostly both terms in fact are quite overused at this moment, right?
Oh yes, definitely. Unfortunately, I read too many articles where there is just a mix of usage between the different terminologies. So there is a mixture of understanding between ecotourism, sustainable tourism, responsible tourism, and now a new term that is popular by certain people, regenerative tourism. All of them, people just mix them all. But there is from academic perspective and then from business, operational, technical organizations like the GSTC and others, we put a weight and importance to these terminologies. So it's quite important to understand the differences.
Of course, and through the Chorus podcast, we also aim to expand this knowledge of sustainable tourism as much as we can.